What a great night. Just like everyone, give a round of applause for everyone who set this night up and everyone who's had a part of it. Just thank everyone. Rennie, I'd like to thank you for you and the New York State Baseball Hall of Fame and the committee for my induction. It's really a humbling experience. I'd like to thank the commissioner of the New York City PSL Baseball, Bob Purchase, a dear friend of mine, for nominating me. Thank you, Bob. I'd like to congratulate all the inductees that are here tonight. When I'm up here right now, you got to pinch yourself. It doesn't seem real. I'd like to introduce to you my family, my wife, Teresa Lynn, married 36 years. She has been my rock. She puts up with all my nonsense, my schedules, my rosters, anything I need, she does. While we're eating Sunday dinner, I get a phone call from somebody by Yankee Stadium. Coach, I got to come down. I got a new kid from DR. You got to see him. I'll be there in an hour. Now, I live out by baseball heaven, so it's really not an hour, but I make it there in an hour. So I leave the table, take off, and there I go. I come back home 4 hours later with a new kid in Monroe. That's the way it works in the Bronx. Tress, I love you. Thank you. I'd like to introduce my son, Michael, and his beautiful wife, Sarah. Michael has been by my side since he's been about 5 years old. I don't know how Bob Purchase and the commissioners let this happen, but I'll never complain. They let him in the dugouts, and all the times we were in Yankee or Shea Stadium wearing a uniform, being my bat boy. And I thank you for that once again, Bob. On the other hand, my daughter, I'd like to introduce my daughter, Danielle, and her husband, Tom. Danielle didn't have it that easy. I'm fortunate to be in 14 New York City championships, and the city championship always falls around June 12th. That's her birthday. So my poor daughter had to celebrate with, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 other people when it was her day. Thank you, sweetie. I love you. And my biggest joy now are my grandchildren, Michael and Sarah's two boys, Michael Anthony Turo III and little Benny. And they're my joy. And my daughter's little girl, Layla, who just calls me Papa and loves me to death, and I love her so much. I'd like to say thank you for my sisters, brother-in-laws, godchild, for being here tonight, and my coaches, Jose, John, Kevin. I love you guys. Thank you for putting up with all my nonsense over these years. I really appreciate it. The next four, I know I'm breaking the rules here, but I have four guys here that played for me in the late 70s and early 80s. And these four gentlemen are the truest baseball fans around. They love Monroe, they bleed the red and gold, and they're always there for us. Tony Delgado flew in from Florida for this, and I know it's very difficult for him. I thank you so much. Guys, I appreciate everything you do. I have to mention one of the boys quickly, Arnold Brisbane. He plays for me in 77, and this boy texts me or calls me every day of my life thanking me, every single day. We talk baseball and about the things that, about the nonsense that goes on around, around sports and how we're not going to let that happen here at Monroe, and it's just a joy when he calls me. Pearl, I love you, kid. Growing up in the Bronx, I started my baseball, I'd say, at 5 years old. I used to catch my father. He bought me my first glove, bat, and cleats, and taught me all the fundamentals. He took me to my first baseball game, which I'll never forget. It was a Cleveland Indian-Yankee game where a next-door neighbor of ours who used to rent out an apartment, and it was to one of the co-owners when he was in town of the Cleveland Indians. So we got to talking, and my first game, I was brought on the field, shaking hands with Sam McDowell, Joe Askew, Orlando Pena, all these Cleveland Indians, and that just got me going to love baseball more than anything else. I love baseball so much, we did crazy things. I lived by Pelham Parkway in the Bronx growing up. We used to go on the Parkway, we used to set up fake fences, and we'd play these games like who hits the ball, who can make the most spectacular catch. and we dive all over the place. People look at us like we're crazy. You know, we're only like 15, 20 feet away from each other. Well, we did that. I also went out one night, and I dug out a baseline. And at that time, it was a 60-foot, and then I eventually dug it out to 90 feet just to do sprints, to run, to get faster. And we did crazy things like that. In fact, our parents used to give us money. We used to go to Columbus High School, which was about a half a mile away from my house. We used to get like two buckets of balls with 3 kids, go up there, and we'd just take batting practice. But the money that our parents gave us for us to buy, we used to give to the little kids for them to shag balls because we didn't want to pick up the balls. We wanted to just hit. So we gave the kids the money, and it was just amazing how much batting practice we got in each night we went up there. My organized ball started in the Astor Little League, where I got my first life lesson. I went down to practice and tryouts, and I was a pretty good ball player, I felt at that time, because of what my father did for me. And the coach had 2 sons on the team, never paid any attention to anyone else. So, of course, I batted 9th, played right field. Well, that was my determination. It wasn't going to happen again. I worked hard, that summer and the next year. I mean, hard enough so that I made sure people noticed who I was as a ball player. And then I enjoyed myself growing up, the all-star teams and stuff like that, which was a lot of fun. But moving on from there, I had my greatest baseball experience. I played for a team, the Cavaliers. And on this team, we played a team from Brooklyn, Gravesend. 2 names we had to beat to get to the next game. We had to beat John Candelaria and Pete Falcone. 2 pretty good pitchers, I would think. But it didn't get any easier. We won that. We go to Waterbury, Connecticut, and after we come back from there, we go out to Fort Worth, Texas, and play in some big stadium. And we're in the championship against a pitcher that some of you might know. His name was David Clyde. So, of course, I'm the leadoff batter, and I see a ball come whizzing by my head about 100. I said, oh, my Lord. People don't know what 100 is until they see it. And I really didn't see it. After 2 strikeouts, they made sure I got a bunt base hit, so I can remember that day the rest of my life. We did lose the game 1-0, though. From the Cavaliers, moving on from Cavaliers, I went to Mount St. Michael, where I played 4 years. And again, I had a life experience. Brought up to the varsity after my second year. We played in the city championship against the great Jack Curran and Archbishop Malloy. And I was in that famous game that after 7 innings were up, score was tied, parents come walking on the field and say, get off the field. We're looking at them like they're crazy. They took their sons off the field for graduation. So we lost the game, the only city championship that I ever dreamed about, and I wanted all my life. I won a city championship. We lost on a forfeit. And it was difficult, but I said, things someday in the future may get a little bit better. And fortunately, coaching at Monroe, they did. Coming home from practice one night, I see a gentleman sitting on my front step, and I see who it was. It's Jack Lyons. He was the assistant coach at Fordham University, along with the head coach, Gil McDougall. Jack had a suitcase there and offered me a full scholarship, pulled out the papers, and I signed it right there and then. And the biggest joy, which made my love even better, my best friend, who lived right across the street from me, he got a full ride 2 days later. So we both at Fordham playing, and I enjoyed it. I was an accounting major, and then it all stopped. I realized I wanted to coach and get into physical education, so I moved over to Lehman College, and that was the best move ever made. I played for a gentleman, ex-pro, Nick Testa. He was a catcher in the Giant organization, probably the greatest coach I ever played for. An amazing man. We called him Jack LaLanne. That's what he looked like. We would have us running around the reservoir at 5 o'clock in the morning, doing all crazy things. One year he had a shovel in the middle of the winter, shovel 6 spots outside the quadrangle of the gym. I'm saying, well, this guy's nuts. Oh, he says, get your bat to take 100 swings. So me and the other 5 guys do it, and we're saying, but this goes on for the rest of the month in the snow. So finally, I had the nerve to say, Coach, what's going on? What are we doing? He goes, wait till March. Because when you get outside of March, March is going to feel like summertime to you. I said, oh, my Lord, what a life lesson that was. And believe it or not, I do that with my kids in Monroe. Never shoveling snow, but we worked out in the winter, swinging bats. In December 1977, it all began. I had an interview at Monroe High School. And here I am 49 years later. The wins, the losses, everything went. It was amazing. I wouldn't turn it down for the world. The friendships I made. I'd like to give a special thanks to my parents who were there for me, taught me the discipline, punctuality. They gave me everything in life that I wanted and set me up. And my final quote that I read once, and I follow it, and I go by this my whole life. A great coach, a good coach can change a game. A great coach can change lives. Thank you very much.